Welcome back, Patriots, to the Bald Brad Show. It is officially Thursday, and we are rolling into almost having Donald Trump in office for 3 weeks. I was thinking about this morning. Coffee tastes really damn good. Jeez Louise. You guys aren't getting on the 70-75 stuff. 1 second, man. That was a power sip right there. Donald Trump is getting more done in 3 weeks than Joey did in a matter of years. I can't keep track of everything Donald Trump is doing here. The guy is making America great again. He's figuring out the border. He's figuring out a foreign policy. He's wanting to take over Greenland. He's hinted at taking over Canada, making it the 51st state. He's talking about taking over Gaza. The guy's talking about taking over the Panama Canal. He's talking about figuring out our budget by putting Elon Musk in there with Doge, signing executive orders left and right. And he's also getting freaking women, or those that think they are, out of women's sports. Check this out, folks. This was the lead story yesterday. Big move. Big move. Surrounded by young female athletes, Donald Trump bans men from women's sports. What a photo op, by the way. What a signing power move yesterday was. This had everybody jazzed, ready to go. Common sense. Can you believe it's 2025 and we have to have a sitting president sign something like this saying, hey, it's probably not a good idea to have women in boys' sports or vice versa. I have seen firsthand the reality of when a girl, a woman, steps foot on the ice with a bunch of college guys. I've seen what happens. And even when you barely tap them, and I mean this in all literal sense, and those guys that's worked with me on the ref crews know exactly what I'm talking about, they go down and they leave the game because they can't handle a very light check, let alone if you do a full-blown just running them over steamroll. Well, Donald Trump signed an executive order Wednesday banning men from women's sports, a historic moment in the fight to protect the integrity of women's spaces from gender activists and ideologues. Well, it's the Democrat Party's ideology, really. I mean, I think the Democrat Party is swaying and moving a little bit more towards centrist, a lot of them, based on just polling numbers. Now, we all know how polling goes, so take it with a grain of salt, really. But from now on, women's sports will be only for women. Shocker. Really? That's probably a good thing. Folks, this whole thing has been going on for quite some time. You guys remember that movie Ladybug with Rodney Dangerfield, where he had that kid play dress up as a woman and play in a women's league, and he completely was dominating it? Everybody knows that men tend to be better at sports than women. Now, that's not a degrade against women. That doesn't mean they're not talented. Doesn't mean they're not athletic. It's just biology. You're going up against what God created. Men are just bigger, tend to be. They're stronger. Bone density, all that stuff, adrenaline. I don't know what to tell you. It's just facts. You may not like it. I don't like the fact that people have hair and I don't, but I got to live with it. The president signed an executive order in the East Room of the White House, and we do have footage of that somewhere here, and I guess I do not have it queued up. That is me being unprofessional. We'll try to get that queued up for you guys here in just a little bit. But if you like what you're seeing so far, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Would be greatly appreciated if you feel like we deserve it. And if you are thinking about joining Rumble, now's the time to do it. Right now, we're doing 2-a-day streams where we're trying to get into the Rumble creator program, which is basically like what I have for YouTube. So I have to meet a certain amount of hours, I have to meet a certain criteria. So that's why we've been streaming quite a bit. So if you want to join us in the evenings, we are streaming around, I would say, what has it been, like 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to come join us, come hang out. We're going to be doing a lot of 2-a-days for the future. Well, here's Donald Trump with a fabulous video.
In a few moments, I'll sign a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports. It's about time. My administration will not stand by and watch men beat and batter female athletes. From now on, women's sports will be only for women. In recent years, the radical left has waged an all-out campaign to erase the very concept of biological sex and replace it with a militant transgender ideology. We're honored to be joined today by many incredible advocates for women's sports, including the brave swimmer at the forefront of this battle. And Riley Gaines is a person that I've been watching. With my action this afternoon, we're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding. There will be no federal funding. With this executive order,
there you go, Mr. President.
Women's sports is over. We are restoring sanity and common sense, defending the rights and safety and pride of the American people, including our great, great, great female athletes.
And you know what? Not a single child was sniffed. If you were with us last night, we actually showed a really short clip of the signing of it. And I made a comment and I was asking the Patriots in the chat if they thought Joe Biden was sniffing his screen. He's such a lucky guy. What a weirdo. What a weirdo you are, Joe. Sit down. Now, this was asked in yesterday's White House press briefing if this was going to have any sort of effect on the Olympics that are coming up. And that is stated he does expect the Olympic Committee and the NCAA to no longer allow men to compete in women's sports. I think the president, with the signing of his pen, starts a very public pressure campaign on these organizations to do the right thing for women and for girls across the country. And I agree. The question was surrounding, if there's a guy that thinks he's a female and he goes in and wants to start boxing an actual female, should that be allowed? No, it shouldn't. I don't know why this is a thing, but Democrats want to make it a thing. And I'm telling you, Democrats are spazzing out right now. And it's the oddest thing to me. It really is. And we're going to get to it, folks. But I mean, they're freaking out over you wanting to protect children. I'm going to say this clearly, because there's some Democrats in here. Democrats are freaking out over protecting children. They're also freaking out over deporting those that raped children. They're also freaking out over those that did crazy crap to children. Do you see a common, am I the only one that sees a common theme here of what's going on with Democrats and children? They want to allow people to abort children. Oh, we're not done. They want to give safe haven to people that allow sex trafficking of children. There is a constant, weird, evil-ass theme going on with Democrats and their children, to the point where their leader was sniffing them, grabbing them, all this weird stuff. Their leader was Joe Biden. Demonic, exactly right, Q. Exactly right. I don't know what the hell's going on. Well, speaking of I don't know what the hell's going on, you got Nike in the mix here. I don't know what they're thinking. XXXY athletes viral pro girl sports ad sparks backlash against woke Nike. Now, I haven't read this yet, but I'm curious of what the heck Nike think they're doing. The Daily Wire chronicled earlier this week a pro-woman athletic brand ad went viral after receiving an endorsement from Harry Potter author and female advocate J.K. Rowling. Okay. The ad, created by XXXY athletes, is titled Real Girls Rock. Okay, so that's actually sounded pretty good so far, and features real stories of female athletes who've lost out on opportunities because of male trans-identifying athletes and received hatred and vitriol for standing up for themselves and other girls. Oh, all right. Well, what do we got here, Nike? I'm kind of liking this a little bit. It sounds good. Hopefully I don't get played here. Let's go.
Gaines and Sia Lihi are in hot water over their transphobic comments, and I just gotta say, who cares if biological males play in women's sports? Just be inclusive.
Could not agree more. This is just a bunch of fear-mongering from right-wing bigots.
This girl kicked Dizzy's ass and Pat's at the same time. Suck it. Jesus, do you see that kick? Oh my God.
I'm just gonna say it, she's a bigot.
She's been a massive distraction from her team with her hate-filled rhetoric. Sia is not inclusive. And males invading women's sports isn't even a problem, as far as I'm concerned.
Yo, that girl's kick was crazy right here. Where is it? Whoa, bam! I'm telling you, this was pure training for if Joey ever got within 5 inches of her. Sika! That's a pretty good ad. So shout out to the Nike brand here, I guess. This is definitely not the story I thought it was going for, but I'll take it all day. Big moves here. The video is gaining traction online since it was the first released over the weekend and sparking backlash against woke athletic corporation Nike, which supports the LGBTQIA agenda and refuses to stand up for female athletes. X users quickly found other ads from XXXY Athletics, specifically an ad called Dear. Oh, so it was geared towards Nike, I guess, not Nike. Am I missing something here? Am I just reading this wrong because it's morning? So I guess it was going after Nike. That's what I guess. So it's not Nike themselves. So like, dude, Nike putting this out? That's why I was all confused and amped. I was like, what the hell? You thought the last ad got you. This one is just amazing, just as beautiful. Wow, wow, wow. One user captioned the Dear Nike ad, "I'm not crying, you're crying." So this was geared towards calling out Nike and other athletic brands for allowing men to play in women's sports. Gotcha. Okay. Nike equal China. Yeah. China number one. China number one. Well, that is a little bit of what's going on with the trans movement, LGBTQIA, removing men from women's sports, that whole thing, that whole bit. Well, we got another plane accident coming up, folks. And I'm not going to make any sort of jokes about driving or flying or anything like that, okay? You can do that in the chat if you would like. I'm going to refrain. We got video of it. Japanese Airlines flight collides with Delta flight at Seattle Airport. It's unbelievable. A Japan Airlines plane collided with a parked Delta Airlines flight. Parked! That was waiting to take off at Seattle Tacoma International Airport on Wednesday, according to videos that circulated online. So here's the video. Dude's sitting outside his window, or looking outside his window, and just watching in slow motion how the plane just runs into the other plane. I'm going to mute it just because the jet engine is so bad. But, oh no, somebody say something. You know, there's some airline guy that's like, it's okay, just throw a little bit of duct tape on it, take off, we got it scheduled to keep. Sir, we don't have any duct tape. Shit, I'll take Scotch tape then, I don't care. Oh boy, no jokes, eh? In the chat, careful. Here's another angle. Oh, we'll get this queued up for you. This coffee is really good this morning. I don't know what I did differently. Either that or I'm just like, you know, when you're kind of, well. Whoa. Shit. Honestly, it's not that bad. I might still take off in that. I'm kidding, okay? Of course I don't have balls of steel like that. Brad, you got any other angles? Of course I do. I'm glad you asked, you guys. Thank you. Look at that. Just. Imagine the insurance claim on that. How do you write, anybody in the insurance company, how do you write that up? You know what I mean? It's not like you can call out like highway patrol to do a police report. Like, who do you call on this one? Yeah. No, this isn't. I didn't hit a parked car. Something a little bit bigger. What did I hit? Are you sitting down? I hit another plane. How did I not see the plane? What do we tell them? It was Japanese airline? That's a funny joke. I don't care what you say. That's a funny joke. It's a joke, okay? I know Democrats don't know what jokes are. And when they do know what jokes are, it's still so disrespectful. It's so wrong. All right. So there's that one. You got another plane accident. Unbelievable. Hit a parked plane. A parked plane. Yeah. Insurance company hit a what? I hit the moon. I didn't see it. I hit Earth. Well, Trump is also touting more good news here. I mean, folks, this whole show is just nothing but good news. You had Trump signing an executive order to make sure women's sports is strictly women's sports. Then you have Donald Trump making America great again through enabling women to play in women's sports by creating more ads, such as we saw with the XXXY ad calling out Nike for saying, hey, why don't you stop allowing men who think they're women to play in our sports? Well, now he's touting this great news here, where 15-year Army recruitment high, a spirit in U.S. they haven't seen in many years. It's amazing how when you put a Democrat in office like Barack Obama or Joe Biden, you see a decrease in military. Do y'all remember when Barack Obama thought it was a good idea to start decreasing military assets? A lot of people forget about this. The only reason I have not is because I lived next to weapon stations my entire life. And he was going to close them down. And that sparked like everybody looking around because the whole community is like military people going like, what's happening here? Why would you want to close this down? It's a big deal. Because Barack Obama didn't like the military. Joe Biden didn't like the military. Donald Trump, us here on the Bald Brad Show, we love the military. President Donald Trump on Wednesday touted recruitment numbers for the U.S. Army that showed December's data at the best in 15 years. Yeah, baby. This is a big deal. We don't have enough people servicing our ships, our assets, our vehicles, our weapon stations. We don't have enough people. That's a national security problem, because if you don't have enough people, how the hell are you going to get those ships and other places out there to be protected? We got to get those numbers up. The U.S. military has struggled to hit recruitment quotas in recent years. The Army managed to hit its quota fiscal year 2024 through a relatively low bar, may have contributed to the success, meaning they're dropping the bar down. When you drop the bar down, you're getting more people that are eligible. That's a massive problem, by the way. I don't know if they dropped the level in terms of ASVAB scores. ASVAB score is basically just an IQ test. And the great thing about the ASVAB, if you don't know what that is, it's a placement test where it will, with a high degree of accuracy, correlate you with your intelligence to where you should be positioned at in the military. And it's one of the best positioning tests in the world. It has about a 0.72, I want to say, correlation coefficient to job placement and IQ. And that means it's strong correlation for those that don't know statistics. So it's a remarkable test, by the way. And I mean, it does a very good job. But when you lower the bar, what you tend to see is that you have to still fill those higher positions. And so the test almost goes out the window, and that's going to harm our military, because what we have found through decades of data, by the way, is that when you have somebody that's low IQ, and that's not like a degrading thing to that individual, when they have a low IQ, they're not able to do those upper spectrum jobs that require a lot of, I don't say the word intelligence, but a lot of cognitive capacity to be able to problem solve relatively quickly. They're not able to do that. So they can't necessarily climb up the ladder in terms of high cognitive demand positions, but those with high cognitive demand positions are able to do basically everything between them at the top tier and down. So you got a massive problem, because what do we do? And that's why the United States military didn't allow people over an IQ level, I think over like 85 or something, to enter the military. I want to say it's 85. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. Because what do you do when you become more technologically advanced and they're not able to do certain jobs extremely efficiently and well? We don't know what to do with them. And by the way, it's the same issue and same problem in society nowadays, where there's certain level of IQ, like 15 million plus people in the United States. We actually don't know what to do with them because there's no jobs for them. And again, it's not a degrading thing. That's a societal problem that we have to bring awareness to and figure it out. But you pushing that in the military is not a good thing. No, you cannot be lowering the standards. You need to raise the standards so we have the best military personnel in the world. I want to share some of the very exciting news from our military. We got a little bit of a clip here with Donald Trump here. It's going to be on the same stage as him doing that executive announcement.
This is a nice crowd, isn't it, huh? You've been waiting a long time for this. Yeah. So have I. Actually, it was so ridiculous. But here we are.
It is ridiculous.
And this doesn't have to be long. It's just all about common sense. Doesn't have to be long. In a few moments, I'll sign a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports. It's about time.
He'll get to it.
Under the Trump administration, we will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women. But before going further, I want to share some very exciting news from our military. After years of shrinking force numbers at levels that nobody has ever seen before, 4 years of this we went through, and missed recruiting targets every single month, it was just announced that in December, the U.S. Army had its single best recruitment in more than 15 years. Thanks.
There you go, folks. It turns out when you get somebody like Donald Trump as your commander-in-chief and Pete Hegseth as your Secretary of Defense, both alpha males, people don't mind getting behind that. The Democrat Party does not understand, or should I say those that lean more progressive left, don't understand conservatives. They don't understand Republicans. Hell, they don't even understand independents, which is actually the majority of our audience. They don't understand any of us. And they think it's a good idea to put a man in a bunch of high heels wearing skirts and women's panties to lead a bunch of alpha males that think it's fun to go and shoot guns and do push-ups and stuff, because guys tend to be, we're a little bit more animalistic. We're a little bit more barbaric, baby, but we love it, right? We love whiskey. We love cigars. We love fire. We love to blow things up. We don't want to get behind, I hate to say it, I don't want to get behind a guy storming the beaches, in his wife's freaking bra and panties. I don't want to do that. It's not fun to me, and it's odd. It's weird. It's creepy as hell. So it turns out when you actually turn into stuff a little bit more alpha, guys want to get behind that. And by the way, the bigger thing here is you're sacrificing your life by going into the military, most likely, because you might get thrown into some warfare or some freaking place off. Who the hell knows? You want your leadership to be strong, man, because those are going to be the guys that are going to tell you what the hell to do. And if you're looking at a guy wearing a skirt and that guy's telling you what to do, why would you take him seriously? If there's some stuff wrong up here, then the odds of them having something go wrong up here telling you what to do, you can't afford not to trust your leadership, man. You really can't. You really, really can't. And there's some people out there in the corporate world that are changing leadership really quick, and they're changing organizations, and we're about to get to that in 1 second. Again, corporate world is changing relatively quickly because Donald Trump's back in office. But before we get there, folks, if you're wondering what the hell I'm drinking, because, man, I am on one today. Let me tell you. I don't know what I brewed correct, but I did something different. I got to figure out what it is. Because it tastes, the roast is phenomenal here. Do you enjoy the free speech that Rumble is protecting and fighting for? Our show is only possible thanks to our viewers supporting Rumble's platform by purchasing Rumble's products. Most of you drink coffee every day. We're a morning show. We plug this all the time. And it's so good. It's so good. That's why you have to try Rumble's $17.75 coffee. It's actually some of the best coffee. And it's the same price as the stuff you already buy now, but it's way better. You're getting a better roast, a better coffee for the same price of the garbage you're paying for now. I called your coffee garbage, so come at me. Rumble's $17.75 coffee is free from chemicals, yet absolutely rich in flavor. I could still taste it. This is because your beans are sourced from high altitudes from farms in Bolivia, handpicked, roasted weekly at their facility, and delivered fresh to your doorstep. That's service, baby. And as believers in freedom, buying from Rumble helps fight back against woke corporations like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, whose, quite frankly, their coffee's not. Rumble's $17.75 is better than both combined. Join the coffee revolution and brew rebellion with Rumble's $17.75 coffee. Go to 1775coffee.com, use promo code STUDIO, and get a free month's supply of their cognitive boosting supplement, Limitless, when you buy 2 bags of their coffee. Think about it. It's a crazy freaking deal, really. The supplement is worth more than actually the 2 bags of coffee. Go to 1775coffee.com and try their amazing coffee. Oh, it's good. Folks, I'm not going to steer you wrong with brands that aren't good. If I didn't think the coffee was good, there's a lot of other things that we can get sponsorships for and plug. It's good stuff, and you guys buy it. Travis, I think, buys it. Jerry buys it. Get on the bandwagon, folks. For a morning show, it'd be nice to drink this. And it would be nice to drink the same coffee together. The way I look at this, we're a community of patriots, and it's us hanging out. We're like going to a coffee shop, having breakfast, shooting the shit about the news and how crazy Democrats are for wearing women's panties and all that fun stuff. We can have it doing coffee. You don't drink coffee, Angel? What are you doing, baby? What are you doing? That's okay. What are you drinking? Well, let's get to our next segment. Google throws out diversity hiring targets, considers cutting DEI programs. There is a shift happening right now, and I haven't been able to pinpoint it exactly why all of a sudden these corporations want to cut their DEI programs. I don't know if it's a dissolvement, if that's a word, of ESG scores, environmental social governance scores. So if you're not familiar with what that is, it's basically a score that was created by these elites in Davos, the World Economic Forum. And it's a score almost like your credit score, but it shows you how much of a leftist basically you are and how much you believe in global warming and how you're going to make your company tackle that even if it harms your company. How much are you going to push like social programs like DEI, your quotas, and they will do some sort of calculation and they'll give you a score. And based on that score, that will allow you to be able to have mobility within the market to move up or down. Now, believe it or not, a lot of you actually have an ESG score. You just don't know it. Your banks have attributed you, some of them, an ESG score. So I don't know why they're removing this all of a sudden, but I'm not against it. But I'm also not going to hold my breath. Google is eliminating diversity targets in its hiring process and has begun an extensive review of the risks posed by the company's DEI programs, marking a major pullback in the tech giant's approach to workforce representation. According to the report by the Wall Street Journal, the tech giant will no longer set specific targets for boosting minority representation in its workforce. And this is one of the things the left is just losing it over. God forbid you don't designate positions based on race. We got a lot of races in here. We got Mexicans, Hispanics, Blacks, African Americans, Asian people, white people, Indians. And you know what? None of us in here give two bleeps about each other's races. I care about who you are, your character. Are you a good person? Are you trying to make things better for yourself, your family, your community? That's what I care about. For some ungodly reason, Democrats still have this racist ideology in their mind about promoting people or advancing people based on their race rather than merit. They haven't changed, really. If you think about the core inception of where they came from with wanting slavery and trying to keep it intact to creating basically a metaphorical plantation, on God's green earth, I really don't understand why somebody would be Democrat. I'm not saying that you have to be like a Republican or conservative. You could just go independent. Hell, you'd make more of a case to join the Green Party than you would be to being a Democrat. Democrats are no longer Democrat. What's so democratic about the Democrat Party based on what they did the last election? Who voted for Kamala? That's what I thought. Well, according to the report here, the Wall Street Journal, the tech giant will no longer use specific targets. This marks a major shift away from Google's 2020 pledge to raise the proportion of underrepresented groups in management by 30%. If this was groups based on intelligence and thought, no qualms with it, but it wasn't. Google made this commitment along with several other tech companies following the death of George Floyd and the subsequent riots. In an email to employees, Google said it was reviewing diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts that raise risk or that aren't as impactful as we'd hoped, and noted recent... Really? Really? Google had some really smart people working there. Raise risk or that aren't as impactful as we'd hoped. Really? You didn't think that hiring based on race? Huh, really? Black employees comprised of 5.7% of Google's workforce, increased from 3.7 4 years earlier, with Latino employees rose from 5.9 to 7.5%, which is not really much of a bump at all. Google's latest annual report released Wednesday has omitted a pro-DEI sentence that had been present in the report since 2021. Now, Google was present at Trump's inauguration. A lot of these tech companies were there. So I'm sure Donald Trump had a conversation with them like, look, this needs to stop. We're having a cultural shift. People don't want this. You may want this as a company. If that's something that you want, it's illegal. It's like affirmative action. I don't know how somehow people are okay with affirmative action by, again, allowing somebody into a position based on race. Really don't understand it, but the left is a bunch of weirdos and they're a bunch of liars. Well, what's the receipt? You always got to love, right? The Democrats always want the receipt. We bring the receipts. We bring it, but they're not able to find it themselves. Well, let me show you. Here's one liar, big liar. And speaking of Kamala Harris, Joe Rogan says Harris' campaign lied about her failed appearance on his show. This mostly sparked from a recent book that came out that was kind of detailing certain things that Joe Rogan allegedly did. And so he came out on his podcast just like a day or two ago. and was talking about how she just blatantly lied, and so did the book. They completely fabricated a lot of things. So during his podcast, the host brought up comments made by former Harris campaign insiders in a new book, Fight Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House, wherein they accused Rogan of misleading them in efforts to have her on the podcast following former President Donald Trump's appearance on the show. So I'm going to break down, I'm not going to read out his exact, well, maybe we can just, we'll just listen to it. I hope it's not lengthy because he does talk about it for quite some time. Yeah, it's 5 minutes. We'll listen to a little bit of it, and then I'll kind of break down the other things he said in the rest of the segment that we're not including.
I guess it's probably a good time to talk about this. There was a thing that came out recently. There was a book. There was some book about the Kamala Harris campaign where they talked about her getting on this show. And they said a bunch of things that weren't true. They talked to, supposedly talked to like 150 different people about her and, you know, what happened with her coming on the show. I don't know if it's 150. A lot of people. They didn't talk to us, and which is kind of crazy. And which is like, they didn't even ask. But they said things that just weren't true. One of the things they said that weren't true was that we lied about the day that Trump was coming on. No, we just didn't tell you that Trump was coming on. He was already booked a long time ago. This is how it worked. Trump was really easy to book, like super easy. We offered one day. He said yes. That was it. There was no, what are we going to talk about? How long is it going to be? Is it going to be edited? There was nothing. Yeah. What's the waiver? Here, give me that waiver. Sign it. It was so easy. So he was already booked. They never committed to doing the show. So all this talk, there was another thing they said that the reason why they did the Beyonce thing, the Beyonce event in Houston, was so that they could be in Texas to do my show. They never agreed to do the show. None of that's true. They never agreed.
That's fucked.
They also said that they sent someone down here to the studio to do a walkthrough of the set. That's not true. The Trump administration did. I mean, if they are trying to say that they, as in the entire federal government, well, I don't think the Trump, well, I guess the Secret Service is a part of the federal government. Maybe you can kind of get away with saying that because the Secret Service came down here for Trump and looked around, that we sent someone down, but it was not. It was the Trump administration sent them down because they're the only ones that had a date to do the show. These people didn't have a date to do. They never agreed to do the show. This is really important. Even after Trump went on, So
he kind of keeps repeating himself in some way, shape, or form. And he goes on talking about how Donald Trump came on the show. And his original plan, if the Harris campaign would have done it, was he wanted to have Donald Trump on because Donald Trump came on in an evening. And then he would have Harris come on right after. And then what he wanted to do was actually upload the podcasts on the same day. It sounded pretty good. We all know why she didn't go on. She had to make it seem like everything was fine. Oh, Joe didn't want to have me on. Oh, he's right wing. Everybody knows Joe ain't right wing. Joe himself says he's not right wing. But I'll tell you what, the progressive left and Democrat Party starting to turn a lot of people more right wing, even though they're centrist, because the Republican Party has actually moved further left. It has not moved further right. That's why a lot of Democrats are slowly rolling into the Republican Party, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, and others, because the Republican Party hasn't changed all that much. And so it seems as though they have, but it's now more correlated to the values of what the Democrat Party used to be. You're talking like JFK style Democrat than what it is now. The Democrat Party has moved so far progressive left that even those in the party are kind of going, this isn't really what I stand for anymore. There's no actual party to what I stand for other than maybe the Republicans. If you recall, Democrat and Republicans didn't have much of a difference between the two parties. I mean, it's very subtle, right? Bigger government, the Democrats wanted. They wanted higher taxes. They wanted more of a safety net in place for people, like more like FDR style stuff. And Republicans were smaller government, less taxes, different economic structure, more federalist, kind of how things were created, textualist in terms of the Supreme Court. And there was those subtle differences. Now it's really far, like really moved. Well, I should say, I should keep Republicans here and just really far movement of the Democrat Party. And that's why you got a lot of people coming in. Alrighty. Well, if you're having a good time here, hit that like button. It really does support us, folks. We got a lot of people watching. We have only 45 likes over at YouTube, but there's way more than 45 people watching. If you hit it, it does help. If it didn't, folks, I wouldn't ask you to do it, but I appreciate everybody that's helping. We're trying to move everything over to Rumble. We got a lot of regulars in the chat all the time. Again, we're trying to move over to Rumble, folks. If I can get into the creator program, we'll find out by March 15th-ish. Then there's certain requirements I have to do. We'll be streaming about 30 hours a month. And we also have to do, if we get into the program, what's called streaming on Rumble Premium only. Meaning if you're not paying for Rumble service, you're not going to be able to watch a certain amount of hours of the show. And so we could probably make that a little bit spicy, meaning that's not going to be offered on YouTube or X. That's strictly Rumble only. And basically, we're going no holds bar on those bad boys because you can basically say anything and everything you want. So it's like the rated R programming. And that's going to be a lot of fun. Ooh, that's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So head over to Rumble and get that premium. And I have it. I pay for it. And it's supporting a great cause and great people over there at Rumble. Well, let's get into a little bit of illegal immigration news. New data show how much crime illegal immigrants committed in red state. Oh, here we go. I like numbers. I like numbers. Nearly 3,000 illegal immigrants were arrested in Tennessee for crimes ranging from murder to rape during the last 3 months of 2024, according to the report compiled by the state's district attorneys. The report released last week by Texas District Attorney General Conference found that around basically 3,000 illegal immigrants from over 92 different countries were arrested from October to December 2024. You see this aspect here, the different countries, 92 of them. This is why I think it's so odd that people in like Los Angeles and around the country are protesting the deportation of Mexicans when it's like it's actually 190 different countries here, I believe, from what I've heard. Where's everybody else? Like, I don't see the Vietnamese out there, right? No, I don't see the Chinese out there protesting. I only see Mexicans. It's the oddest thing to me. Where are all the other 189 countries protesting the deportation of the illegal immigrants? You have to wonder. I'm telling you, there's no like self-reflection and self-thought with people. Wouldn't you look around just a little bit and go, hey, Juan, where's everybody else? Like, I don't know, fool. We're just out here killing it, though, man. I'm telling you what. Get that flag waving on me. Orale, chipotle, beans and rice, beans and ice. I don't understand why you can't look around and go, where's everybody else on this? Where? Where's the other countries that are also being deported? Where are their people? Why is it only Mexicans out here? And then they're waving the Mexican flag, right? Which is like, fuck, just... I've never understood that aspect. If you think the country is so, because you're basically I'm gonna pause it here for a second. If you're waving another country's flag in the United States and you're so proud of it, so much so that you want to wave it around, why are you here? And I really do mean that. I'm not saying, oh, get the hell out of my country. My question is being proposed to you. Why are you here? You're supposed to pledge your allegiance to the United States. But what we've done as a society, we've degraded what it means to be an American to the point in the public education system, some schools don't even do the Pledge of Allegiance anymore. A lot of the kids that, when it is given, don't actually even stand up for it because they're taught to hate their country. They're taught that we're a bunch of colonialists, right? We're a bunch of bigots. We've killed millions of people. All these things. You're just taught nothing but negative things about America. Not how America has uplifted the entire world by giving a massive amount of contributions through money and services to the entire globe to uplift people out of poverty, pushing capitalism across the globe, which is the best economic form we've had in terms of uplifting people out of poverty. They'll teach those things. No. I've been in school systems where they actually, I'm not even kidding. I'm as serious as a heart attack. They teach that socialism is good. Communism isn't that bad. I've seen it with my own eyes. So it's real. If you want to pledge allegiance to another country, go fucking live there. But we know you won't because you're fake. What it comes down to. Compiled as a result of a new state law requiring law enforcement to report on the arrests of illegal immigrants, the report found that 447 of the estimated 4,000 charges were violent offenses. The data only included 73 countries since the other 22 did not submit their statistics. 11 homicides reported across the state, and that was first degree, second degree, and 7 instances of vehicular manslaughter. Oh, homicide, I guess, not manslaughter. And here's the other violent crime. Look at that. Rape, sexual abuse of a child, kidnapping, sexual exploitation of a minor, another rape, sexual battery, robbery, domestic assault, exploitation again with a minor. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is with Democrats. Hand to God, I really don't get it with them and children, but there's something weird going on. I mean, Epstein wasn't exactly a Republican, was he? Epstein's Island. Epstein was not a Republican, Democrat. You could trace everything back to the Democrat Party, wanting to trans kids, wanting to gender affirm kids, manipulate their mindset, give them hormone enhancers, give them puberty blockers. They want to castrate them. They want to allow illegal immigrants to rape them and murder them and sex traffic them and push them off into forced labor. It's one party doing that. It's not true. I hate to say it. Well, no, I don't hate to say it. I'm glad. The Republican Party doesn't do stuff like that. You can find, right? They'll always go, well, I know this senator that did this. And you will always find another example to contradict what I'm saying. But in the grand scheme of things, because I talk about in generals, Democrat Party is the one that's spending stuff up the wazoo that we're finding out through the USAID. It's the Democrat Party that's going after children. It's the Democrat Party that wants to allow racism and always has. It's the Democrat Party that wants to spend your money without you knowing about it, which is why they're spazzing out right now. Freaking insane, man. And you try to explain it to them, and then I'm talking about Democrats, and then they get all defensive about it. Like, if you don't agree with all the stuff I just listed, then why are you voting Democrat? Go vote independent. Don't get upset with me for calling out your party for the crazy crap they're doing. In the same way, if somebody calls out the crap the Republican Party does, I don't get upset. I weigh what they're saying and going, one, is it true? And two, in the holistic viewpoint of things, is it something that really does go against the core values of what I'm doing? And then I say, okay, which side's actually pushing my values more? Travis with the $2. Thank you so much. Wait, criminals are being criminals? Not possible. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate it, man. Travis has been supporting quite a bit lately. Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate it, as is everybody else that are members here in the show. And so I see a lot of conversation about moving over Rumble. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. We'll still be on YouTube. I'm just saying Rumble is, they're treating us way better than YouTube ever has. That's for darn sure. Well, Trump to cut off Politico. We talked about this last night, and I told you in today's show I would show you the receipts. I showed you a little bit because we pulled it up in real time when I keep calling her, I want to call her Pam Bondi, but Caroline Leavitt talked about how Politico is being funded by all of us. Taxpayers, to the tune of $9 million. So as the Trump administration continues cutting waste from federal government, the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, announced that the left-wing media outlet Politico, which is in the White House press briefing room, by the way, will no longer receive millions of dollars from the federal government that she was essentially subsidizing subscriptions. Unbelievable. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. No. We'll get there. I was made aware of the funding from USAID and the media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. That dude or gal had to be like crunched in, like, oh no, they found us out. I can confirm that more than 8 million taxpayer dollars have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayer's dime. So here's that exchange. And I told you these three people, this was one of the guys that I wanted a question from right here. She's also asking very good questions. Karine Jean-Pierre didn't call on her much, and now you know why. So he was getting the question in.
So upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than 8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayer's dime will no longer be happening. The DOJ team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that We are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board on, do these receipts serve the interests of the American people? Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad, and American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort.
And as I mentioned, Democrats are spazzing out of their minds by Donald Trump wanting to save you money. Anything that's logical and common sense, for some ungodly reason, Democrats have a problem with it. Donald Trump wants to cut. And quite frankly, I want all of you to be able to cut as well, which is why if you don't get your hands on this, I don't know what you're doing. I really don't know what you're doing. This sponsor is huge right now. Folks, Trump finally is back in office, baby. And it's only going to get better from here. It's only been 2.5 weeks and the guy's done unbelievable things. As a celebration, Patriot Addict is sending our free Trump red knives to people who voted for Trump. You're here. Free. Free. This is just their way of saying thank you for supporting him and being part of the movement in history. Normally, this knife retails for $100, but right now, you can get it just for the cost of shipping, baby. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are out there cutting things up. Now you can also cut up things too with a Trump knife right here. It's a beautiful knife, a knife you've never cut something so pure, so gorgeous. It's a beautiful knife. It's beautiful. It's red. It's silver. It cuts. It's perfect. You've never seen a knife like it. Folks, we love giving you free stuff. Right now, you can get it by scanning the QR code to the top and apply your 100% off coupon and claim your Trump knife today. Some of you actually bought this already. And let's say, like, I don't need another knife, Brad. Well, maybe you can give it as a gift to one of your fellow Trump buddies. It's a phenomenal gift idea. It's a great idea. And look, Donald Trump's cutting stuff up. You got to be cutting stuff up too. No better way than using Trump's knife to do it, baby. So shout out to all you patriots in the chat. We're not done yet. We're not going anywhere just yet. So Caroline Leavitt had a phenomenal, just an awesome press briefing yesterday. So here's a few receipts. You got to bring the receipts for the Democrats because, like I said, they're not able to do it themselves. So here's the subscriptions. We've actually got screenshots of it. It's a pro subscription, which I've heard this pro subscription is $10,000 a year. I don't know who's paying. Look, our membership here is 99 cents a month, and I go live for an hour at least every single day and put in the energy, baby. I try to work for that dollar. Now I sound like somebody working at a strip club, right? Oh, I'm not even going to go there. So here, I mean, look at all this money. Look at all the money. Look at this. 8.2 mil. Oh, it just so happens the spike, right? In 2024. God, who was in office then, huh? Who was in office in 2024? Oh, Joey was. So interesting. So you have Pam Bondi coming out and saying, well, she's going to direct the DOJ to halt federal funding for sanctuary cities. So now we got Elon Musk on his end, snip, cut, saving you billions of dollars, which there's a tracker, which I'll pull for you guys in just one moment. But now we're going to cut this spending on these sanctuary cities. Thank God. Donald Trump's newly confirmed Attorney General, Pam Bondi, has directed the Department of Justice to halt federal funding to sanctuary cities that refuse to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement agents. I love this. I've been asking for this for years. Do I get penalized? Of course. I put my money where my mouth is. I live in California. California is a sanctuary state. Los Angeles, I don't live in Los Angeles, but it's a sanctuary city. Cut off funding. Cut it off, like now. Immediately. So those sanctuary cities would be basically Lansing, Michigan, New York, Richmond, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, and numerous others. Los Angeles, California. These would be in states like California, Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, and a bunch of others. So good. See ya. All funding gone. Bye-bye. We're also making a bunch of arrests here. 100 more Venezuelan gang members in raid in Aurora, Colorado apartment complex. Remember how Margaret Brennan this wasn't happening. You also had, what's her face, Kristen Welker say, this isn't happening. It's funny how it's not happening, but it actually is happening and people are being arrested for it. So I'll make sure I bring that rapid news up to you guys. You have this right here. Hold on, let me get to it. There's a clip. Democrats are spazzing out over Elon Musk, right? So CNN has this panel and they play a video of Democrats spazzing out and going, we need to resist this. How could Elon Musk try to save us money? And so you have this clip here.
Democrats agree that Musk is a problem, but listen to them today. And they have a piñata in search of a stick.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist!
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your asses.
We have days to stop the destruction of our democracy. We have work to do. Tell Elon Musk to take his hands off your money. We don't pledge allegiance to the creepy 22-year-olds working for Elon Musk. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
And goddamn it, shut down the city! We are at war!
We will win! We will win! We won't rest! We won't rest!
So cringy.
Gretchen.
Yes,
So,
they need the Democrats need a real leader.
Dude, even the Democrats at CNN are laughing right now, by the way. Oh my God.
Okay? They need a real leader, which currently does not exist in the Democratic Party. And they have been caught completely flat-footed with the entire Trump presidency for the last 2 weeks and Elon Musk. I said on CNN months ago that Elon Musk would be the most influential advisor to President Trump, and that is proving to be true, whether you like it or not. But Democrats should have had a plan for this. They knew it was coming. We say this every single night.
2025.
We knew it.
Just talked about.
We knew
See Scott's face?
Trump has said all of these things were going to happen. We saw him align with Elon Musk, which may go down as the smartest thing that any presidential candidate has ever done, from the young vote to tech to a million other things. So Democrats needed to have a plan, and it may be too late.
Yeah, Bakari, are you fired up after?
I'm fired up and ready to go. Can't you see it in my face?
It is cringe. And even CNN's going, that's cringe. All these freaking idiots screaming into microphones, resist, resist. They're saving us money, you idiots. Resist what? God. The stuff they're spending money on is just freaking bonkers. It really is. It's unbelievable. So they're spazzing out. They're freaking out. Look at this. I'm just going to list a few before we end here. According to the White House press secretary, USAID recently spent $1.5 million to push DEI in Serbia, $70,000 for DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 on transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 on transgender themed comic book in Peru. There's way more than that. There is way more than that. It's I'm pulling up the debt clock for you guys. It's unbelievable. What's going on here? Folks, this right here, I know it's tough to see. Try to zoom in for you. If you go to usdebtclock.com, you could see the money Doge is saving in real time. Just yesterday, it was $57 billion. It's at almost $64 billion as of right now. I almost just want to keep this live on my channel. I'm telling you, Democrats are ass backwards, man. Ass backwards. Well, really appreciate all of you hanging in the chat with me and doing this each and every morning. We'll be back here probably later today to cover more Trump news and great things that the man is doing. And make sure you try to at least follow over at Rumble. You don't have to subscribe, folks, but if you want to follow over at Rumble, that way you're kind of in the shift of where things are moving. So appreciate all of you. Thank you to everybody that's a member, both on Rumble and YouTube. Thank you to everybody that's contributed and donated. And here's the road to 100,000 subscribers, folks. We're on the road to 100,000, baby. And it's all thanks to you guys and your efforts and always joining the show. Have a lovely day. Pray for this country. Pray for Donald Trump. And I hope all of you have a blessed and great day. Take care, Patriots.